It's finally here. Welcome to season 2 of Just Winning. I'm your host, Jon Whitley. I had two heavy hitters join me since it was going to be the first show of the season. Welcome to Okelo, Pena. Okelo, how does it feel to be on the first episode of the season?
It feels good, honestly. Man, it feels like a while since we last talked, John. So I'm just excited to talk some football. It's good to have Jeffrey, even though the Browns did get clapped. It's different now with the Steelers and stuff. But I'm happy to be here for the season debut. It's always a pleasure. You know it.
Absolutely, man. It's always a pleasure to talk football with you. And I also thought it would only be appropriate to bring in our in-house Browns fan after, an incredible playoff run and a tough loss yesterday. Jeff, how does it feel?
I feel blessed to be wearing Browns gear this time of the year. Usually it's the people in the closet who probably want to talk about football, but, we're here still talking playoff football. I thought my, spirits pretty high. Baker Mayfield looks promising, on to 2021.
Absolutely, man. And I think, you touched on Baker Mayfield. I think that's the thing that impressed me the most throughout this Browns run was, the way he competed yesterday. They got down early, it didn't matter. He kept competing. He converted the big third downs, the big fourth downs, and really just played hard till the bitter end. And this is a guy who had so many doubters on his back, a lot of pressure on him, and to me, he really silenced the doubters this year. Okelo, what stood out to you from this Browns Chiefs game?
What stood out to me was how good that the defense played in the last few minutes, as well as just overall Baker Mayfield. I think the last 10 games, you definitely saw not only the potential if Baker Mayfield performs like this, with the way that his defense, I mean, one play I'll even say that stood out to me, Myles Garrett chasing down McCall Hardman, that shows speed. And I just like the way that this Browns team is going. They were that close, a play away. Who knows what would have happened if Rashad Higgins did get into the end zone if that wasn't called a touchback or a penalty. They are the cardiac kids, if I'm replaying Jeffrey's old 80s Browns with Sam Rutigliano. But I'm just seeing a lot of brightness, man. And like I said, it's a nightmare as a Steelers fan to say that the Browns are moving ahead. But, at the end of the day, they're getting close. If they get Odell healthy, if they add one more piece, they could be right there in the AFC Championship game same time next year. So there's a lot of bright spots coming, and I think Baker Mayfield playing like this, he could be an MVP candidate if he steps up his game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so too. I think there's never been a more exciting time to be a Browns fan. Now, on the other side, the Chiefs, they gut out the win. They'll go on to play the Bills next round. The Bills, they really put up a statement win against Lamar Jackson's Ravens at home. Bills Mafia in attendance. What stands out to you, Jeff, from this Bills team?
The progression of Josh Allen, that QB class, Lamar, Baker, Josh Allen, all being in the AFC playoffs come this point, and Josh Allen has shown the most potential of all. 23 for 27, 206 yards and a touchdown. He didn't do too much, he didn't do too little, and if you play efficient football, you'll win games, especially when you have a dominant wide receiver and Stephon Diggs that wants to be in that game. He wants to be in the Super Bowl. He had a chance with the Vikings. He saw the shortfalls of Kirk Cousins, and that's why he wanted out. Now he finally has a QB that has the arm strength to get him the ball, and now you're starting to see why, he can be up there with the top 5, top 6 wide receiver conversation. It's just that offensive explosion and the consistent defense that's really shocked me.
Absolutely, man. I think, Josh Allen, he's one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks to watch, the way when he turns it on, he's playing football like he is right now. And then Stephon Diggs, absolutely a top 5 wide receiver in my book. Okay, though, what stands out to you with this Bills win?
I think it was just the fact that despite the Ravens statistically outran them, outthrew them, and time of possession wise, the Bills just made the key plays when they needed to. And, and it's just I just like the way that they came out, especially the Bills fans. I mean, Lamar Jackson got hurt, concussed, lost the game, and, Bills fans donated to his charity. So I think it's just a class on that part. But just overall for the fact that the Bills gritted out this win, but they made the necessary plays. It doesn't matter that you win the statistical battle a lot. It's can you make the big plays when they matter, and the score results showed, and that's what Buffalo showed me. Grit, determination, and they're back in the AFC title game for the first time in 3 decades.
Absolutely, man. So Buffalo, Kansas City, Jeff, who are you taking?
I'm happy to go Buffalo Bills.
The Buffalo Bills, even if Patrick Mahomes is playing, which I feel very certain he will be.
I haven't seen any questionable reports. If Patrick Mahomes plays, I see the Chiefs winning, but if he doesn't, then the Bills can definitely wrap it up. I think the Chiefs have the edge over the defense at the end of the day. The Bills have been a bright spot this year, but the Chiefs held Chubb to like 92 yards and like 14 attempts. It was not a pretty game at all for Chubb, and he couldn't run. He had like one breakout run. It just really shows of they really wanted more. And once they saw Patrick Mahomes go down, they put it on their back like, hey, Chatty might throw this interception, but we're gonna try to hold Baker and these guys back and try to help keep this time of possession, in our positive range.
Hmm.
And that's why they have the edge in that notion. But Chad Henne in there, the Buffalo Bills would definitely be dancing to the Super Bowl.
I can agree with that, but you know, Patrick Mahomes plays, we've got the Chiefs. Chad Henne plays, we're going Bills. Okelo, who are you taking in this game and why?
I got to take Kansas City regardless. I mean, even if Chad Henne plays or stuff, I think the one down part that I think Buffalo, if they need to win this game, they got to fix their run game. I have not seen enough of Devin Singletary that warrants me to believe that if the Bills need to run the football, as Jeff mentioned, I mean, they held Chubb to 92 yards. Granted, Kareem Hunt had a few plays, but I know he had a receiving touchdown. But Devin Singletary isn't to me that game-changing running back that can change the game. It's been all Josh Allen's arm, and then the Bills' defense lucking a chance when they make a stop. So, regardless, I just think Kansas City has the better overall team because Buffalo's just missing that one dimension. So, I like Kansas City running it back, and hopefully we get to see Patrick Mahomes starting up his dynasty like he wants to.
Absolutely, and I think we will. I think, to me, there's no doubt in my mind Patrick Mahomes is going to clear this concussion protocol. He's going to play Sunday. But if he doesn't, that's where we disagree, Caleb, because you know the Bills have been efficient passing the ball, and there's some analytics right now that are pointing towards throwing the football is more efficient than running the football. And I think the Bills are absolutely. I think the Bills are going to put up a good fight either way, and I think they absolutely take this game if it's Chad Henne, under center instead of Patrick Mahomes.
Well, it's just, you have a dual threat running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire when he comes back, and you also have Le'Veon Bell. So, you can rely on those two guys as well to carry the rock if you need to and be able to make those game-changing plays. We both know what they're capable of, especially Le'Veon Bell, obviously former Steeler. He shines well in the postseason. I know he hasn't gotten that opportunity yet, but you never know. These are the dark horse stories and storylines and title games that always love to. So I believe that Le'Veon Bell, spoiler, could be able to get some redemption because the last time he was in a title game, he got hurt with my Steelers, prevented us from going to the Super Bowl, but he has a chance now, hopefully with Kansas City, to do that.
Absolutely. We'll certainly keep an eye on Le'Veon Bell. As a group, we tentatively all have the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Now, on the NFC side, the Packers absolutely put a beating on the Rams in Lambeau. Jeff, what stands out to you about this Packers team?
Man, the Packers, it's the rejuvenation of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron thought he was going to really go out of the season in a downward trend. Matt LaFleur, maybe him and Aaron Rodgers can't get anything clicking. But man, once Devontae Adams was just like, give me the ball, feed me the ball, you really saw that offensive play of the year type of, wide receiver caliber player, and Devontae Adams really rejuvenate, Aaron Rodgers and make him look like, he's 5 years, 10 years younger back in his prime. I mean, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Like I said in the previous game, play efficient, and you always win. You always hold that turnover margin. And even if you stop Devontae Adams, you have Aaron Jones to stop too now. And the offensive line's playing so well that the Packers look like a scary team in the offense, but their defense still is questionable.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still not totally convinced the Packers have answered all the questions on defense. I think Akers was able to run on this Packers team, but I think, ultimately came down to the Packers jumped out to enough of a lead early. They couldn't just keep pounding the rock. So, we're going to see, I think right now the Packers offense is their defense. Okay, though, what do you say about this Packers team?
Aaron Rodgers knows how to work it, and they have two great running backs in Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams that complement well. I think, John, I think you can even speak your for yourself as a Packers team. This is probably the best running game that Aaron Rodgers has had his entire career. Granted, he had Ryan Grant in the past and Eddie Lacy, but they either got hurt or they never performed well. He has the weapons around him, not as flashy. I mean, other than Devontae Adams, you have Robert Tonyan, you have Marquez Vlandling-Scantling, you have Alan Lazard. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. We all know this every single day. He shows up, makes magic. And, you know, y'all talk about the Packers defense not being enough, but they still made the necessary plays. Zadarius Smith, he still showed well why he's still a top 5 defensive end, making the plays, making the crucial sacks in the game. You know, this Packers team, they just have everything. If Aaron Rodgers is maybe slow, he can rely on his 2 running backs to ground him up. So I just look at it as Aaron Rodgers is fine, especially now that he has something else that could be able to carry him. And those are the 2 running backs beside him that are game changers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. You know, I think this is the best run game as a whole that the Packers have had in my entire life. You know, they truly have a 3-headed monster right now with Aaron Jones, with Jamal Williams, and now the rookie A.J. Dillon is really starting to come on at the end of the season. So it's been really good football to watch. They move on to the NFC Championship. They'll face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who, you know, gutted out a 30-20 game in New Orleans. You know, the defense forced 3 turnovers. They did what they had to do to get the win. Jeff, what stands out to you with this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team?
Their defense, the upward trend of the defense is surprising. You know, now getting Vita Vea back for this game after, you know, not having their starting defensive tackle for a good whole year, getting him off of IR, this whole defensive like scheme is just, it's kind of scary. And I don't understand, you know, how Carlton Davis has really developed and blossomed as such a great cornerback, but he's really done it over this season. You know, if you can look at a most improved player, look at some of these players on his defense that really stood up, like stand it up, you know, during the season, especially like Antoine Winfield as a rookie. He's been fantastic also. So this Tampa Bay defense is putting on, and we'll see if, you know, Tampa Bay, you know, let's see if he can, you know, seal the deal and, you know, lead him and shut off all the haters about Brian Belichick, you know, that, or Bill Belichick, excuse me.
Yeah, you know, I think I agree. This defense has really carried them throughout the playoffs. You know, defense doesn't win championships anymore, but a defense that can force turnovers like the Tampa Bay Bucks, you know, that wins you games, potentially still wins you championships. They're able to do it down the stretch. So certainly an impressive win by this Bucks team. If they can keep forcing turnovers, I think they absolutely can go all the way. Okelo, what stands out to you with this Bucks team?
Their next man up mentality. They seem like, even with the issues that Ronald Jones has been having, Leonard Fournette, this Buccaneers team just seems like it's a next man up mentality. Who's going to make the next play as well? So, and Tom Brady, he's been finding ways to still get it done. Now, in the beginning, it was ugly, but then, as we all know, like in fairy tales, the beast becomes beautiful. And Tom Brady played a beautiful game at the end of it. And then, like Jeff mentioned, that defense, again, I mean, he mentioned Antoine Winfield. He got it from his dad, one of the best safeties in the game, cornerbacks to ever do it. Carlton Davis, his development. I give credit as well to Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator, known for his 4-3 scheme, especially the development of cornerbacks. That's why you see Carlton Davis having such a breakout season and playing so well at it. I give credit to Byron Leftwich. It's just this Buccaneers team is firing on a whole different cylinder. And having Tom Brady behind, it doesn't matter who he could throw to. He could throw to JV 30-year-old high school court receiver, or he could throw to some of the best receivers in the game. Tom Brady doing it, aging like fine wine at 43. I have nothing else to say.
Agent like fine wine. Thankfully, he has, you know, some of the best receivers in the league. Jeff, who wins, Packers or Bucks, and why?
So for the preseason show that we had at the beginning of the year, I said Tampa Bay was going all the way, and I might have to stick with my gut feeling on this. I do think Tampa Bay is going to pull through. I think that even though that Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers are clicking on a whole nother level, I really see that, you know, I feel like Tom Brady really wants to prove it to some people, you know, that this that he can really, do it without Bill Belichick, without the Patriots. He really wants to remove that like price tag away from him. Wants to put that another ring on his finger. And I think that this defense that they put together is just showing way more positivity than the Packers at this chance. But like at the same time, the Packers are also playing really well. So it's just like this is probably one of the most interesting games we've really had in a minute. Two vets going at it, and then two really like really young, good-looking defenses.
Hmm.
It's gonna be hard, but I have to go with the Bucks.
Interesting. I think first of all, this is one of the absolute hardest games to predict that I've watched in a long time. But I'm ultimately going to have to go with the Packers because it's in Lambeau. Tom Brady, he played in a dome last week. Tom Brady's not playing in a dome next week, okay? So that automatically gives the Packers an edge right there. Plus, we know the Packers could run the ball. The Bucks run game, when it's on, it sure is on. But so we'll see how that goes. Ultimately, I'm gonna have to go with the Packers. I think Rodgers and Devontae Adams is just gonna be too much for this Buccaneers defense this time around. Okay, who are you taking?
Revenge is the best dish served cold. And John, I mean, you know what happened in Week 6 when the Buccaneers last faced the Packers. Like you mentioned, they're going to Lambeau Field. Tom Brady's played in the cold weather, but I feel like that warmness of South Florida, of Central Florida, being in Tampa is going to come back to bite him. I got Aaron Rodgers going back to the Super Bowl for the first time in a decade, and most importantly, he's going to do something that now he can say, I've done just like Brett Favre, and that's play an NFC Championship game in Lambeau Field. He's going to have Packers Nation behind him. Aaron Rodgers, I feel like this has been a long time coming for him. So fourth time's the charm, and go Pack, go. I'm locking it in. I need a cheese head if I had one.
Absolutely. I love to hear that. I'm glad I'm not the only one taking the Packers. And guess what? Tom Brady's not the only one who ages like fine wine. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, he's having one of the best seasons of his entire career. He's most likely the MVP. I'm taking Packers all the way. I know I've got Packers versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Okay, I know you have the same one. Jeff, what's your official pick? Is it going to be Bills? Is it going to be Bills versus the Bucks? Is it going to be the Chiefs versus the Bucks?
It's going to be the Chiefs versus the Bucks. You see the Patty Mahomes versus Tom Brady clash that we all, are waiting to see.
All right, I like it. That would be a movie, the old dog versus the young up and coming. I can't wait to see what happens. It's going to be a great weekend of football. We're going to take a quick break, and then we will bring you our Beast, Bust, and Best of the week. Welcome back for this last second segment of Just Winning, our recurring segment, the Beast, Bust, and Best of the week. If you're new to the show, this is the segment where we review our Beast of the week, which is the player who has impressed us most from the previous week, the Bust, who has been the most disappointing player or team from the previous week, and the Best of the week, which is the team who has impressed you most from the previous week. So without further ado, Jeff, who is your Beast of the week?
Beast. Josh Allen. I said it before in the show. Josh Allen. You play smart football, you're always a beast in my opinion. He put the team on his back. He said, I want the Buffalo Bills fans to be hyped. As a Browns fan, that makes me excited to see that fan base, really glow up again after being in the shutters, after playing the Patriots for so many years. Finally see them rise to that occasion. It's really to see Josh Allen and put them on his back.
Yeah, I can't agree more. He absolutely, this past Sunday, embodied everything it is to be a beast. So that's a great one. Okelo, who is your Beast of the week?
It's the guy in a losing effort, John. I know we always talk about winners when it's beast, but I got to give it to the dude that was #built by UCF, Traquan Smith, in a hard-fought game. Other besides Michael Thomas, which I'll get to in a moment. What a game by Traquan Smith. I mean, he had three receptions, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. He basically carried that Saints receiving core on Sunday in the Superdome. I loved everything that Traquan Smith performed. I have to go because it's a UCF homer guy. And, even though it was a losing effort, hopefully some bright days ahead for the Saints, pending Drew Brees' retirement. I just think that he played outstanding on Sunday, and he's got to be my Beast of the week.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one. You know, a little under the radar, but 2 touchdowns. That second touchdown was no easy catch either, right over a defender. So that's a great beast of the week. My beast of the week, I'm gonna leave the football world for a moment. I'm gonna go with James Harden. He had heard all the criticism this year that he had gotten
Ooh.
fat, that he didn't care, that he didn't give enough effort, that he wasn't a team guy. His Nets debut, he makes a statement. He goes out and gets a 32-point triple double. They just tipped off now as we're recording this, but I expect more of the same from James Harden. James Harden will take home a championship in Brooklyn this year. Mark it on your calendars. Now,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
No question. I mean, like, look, regardless if Kyrie comes back, my question was about ball control, especially depth now, John, because like the Nets really gave up a lot to get James Harden, which I was like, do you sacrifice depth to get that player? But I think Steve Nash is going to probably have more fun coaching this team than when he was playing with 7 seconds or less with the Suns. So Thunder Buddies reunite, and so far, let's just say it's lightning in a bottle. Nets just got to keep it hot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. It's lightning in a bottle, just James Harden and Katie. Remains to be seen how much of Kyrie we're going to see. Who knows about that situation? Let's move on. Jeff, who is your bust of the week?
My God. The New Orleans Saints. And they're a bust for so many reasons that I cannot explain. But just a simple fact of wasting the final like 5 years of Drew Brees' career. I feel like Drew Brees is a generational quarterback, and watching him go out in that fashion kind of hurts the soul. As a Browns fan, same thing for Big Ben. Watching him on the sideline. Hey, this is my final season. This is my final go. It's kind of hard to watch the guys you watched up growing up. 10+ years. You watch, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Some of these guys now they're all starting to retire. Like, where are you guys going? It's very sad to see that the New Orleans Saints went out that way.
Yeah, it is a shame because it's like year after year the Saints are busting the playoffs, and it's almost not even shocking at this point. But the reality is that was a shocking loss. It's just we've seen that movie before. But I will say I am very, very thankful that I got to grow up in the Drew Brees era, and he's been absolutely one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks to watch in the game of football. Okelo, who is your bust of the week?
Well, I'm gonna, like you, John, step away from football, and I'm gonna go with the bust in terms of head coaching hires in the NFL. And I gotta say, I may be controversial with this, but my bust has to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. They literally were set to make Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator of the Bills, their head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. Instead, the Chargers pulled a 180 on us. Tom Telesco is supposed to have a good relationship with Brian Dable, same high school, all that, and they instead choose Brandon Staley off of Sean McVay's staff. Now, granted, I think Sean McVay has a very good coaching tree. I mean, obviously he was an understudy of John Gruden, so I hope Staley will continue his success. Obviously, he gets to stay in LA. He just has to maybe drive maybe 10 minutes away from the other training facility. But I'm just not 100% on this hire, especially when you know that Eric Bieniemy was still available and Brian Dable, if not two of the hottest coaching hires outside of Robert Saleh, who went to the Jets. So I'm just saying, Chargers, what are you doing? You have Justin Herbert. I was thinking get an offensive guy that could explode with this team with so much potential, and they blew it. So the Chargers have to be my bust of the week, and now it makes me concerned about the development of Justin Herbert and as well as this team going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Really a shocking hire. Um, that's all I'll say about that. My bust of the week, staying away from the game of football, in the game of basketball, is the Kentucky Wildcats. This Saturday, the 4-8, they went on to 4-8. They took a terrible loss to the Auburn Tigers. It can't get any worse for this Kentucky team. I can't see them making the tournament. They can have fun in the NIT. But you know what? Wildcat fans, they don't cheer for the NIT. It's championship or bust for these Kentucky Wildcats. And we've seen them put together so many good teams year after year. And, this team is the absolute black eye of the Calipari tender at Kentucky.
Oh, it is. I'm so surprised myself. The high recruits every year, Who knows? Maybe it's just the long time that they haven't played, John. I mean, this is the SEC. This is usually their time. And it's just surprising to see how it's a complete 180. You have the Tennessee Volunteers and the Georgia Bulldogs playing better than Kentucky. I think it's a disgrace.
It's a huge disgrace, and the fan base deserves better. But you know what? Maybe next year, when they can come back into the stadium, they can bounce back. Now, enough of this negativity of the bus. Jeff, who is your best of the week?
3 times out, baby. Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills. If you can contain Lamar Jackson, you have a chance against Patrick Mahomes. If you contain Lamar Jackson, you have a chance against Patrick Mahomes. And why I say this is, as a Browns fan, once again, watching Lamar Jackson run all over us 2 games this season, it just shows how just dominant as a player he is, whether he can throw, whether he can pass. And, when he went on in the fourth quarter, you kind of called it quits, but like all game long, he's like, when is Lamar going to make that play? When's Lamar going to do this? When is he ready to do this? And that defense really held up high, and that team is really just shooting up, just like a rocket, and it's just exciting to see.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely might have been my most impressive team of the weekend. Now, if you can stop Lamar Jackson, you have a chance against Patrick Mahomes. We'll see. That's an interesting quote. I will keep an eye on that. Okelo, who is your bust of the week?
Oh, you mean best? Excuse me.
Sorry, your best of the week. One letter up.
I have to say it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. We keep harping on coming back to them, but like I said, Carlton Davis, Devon White with that game-sealing interception. They made Drew Brees through 3 interceptions. If this is the final act of Drew Brees' career, that's a somber way to go out. And Tampa's defense again. This is why Todd Bowles is starting to get phone calls again to become a head coach. And I hope that maybe in this head coaching cycle, he gets an opportunity to do it. Tampa's defense, they stepped up when they needed to. Bruce Arians has always had this, even when he was the Cardinals. Strong foundation, hard-nosed defense. You get back Vita Vea, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be, like I said, I really hope Aaron Rodgers doesn't perform the way he did in Week 6, but give credit to the Tampa defense, Antoine Winfield Jr. He's honestly my lock for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I really don't see any other competition other than Chase Young. Tampa's defense, to me, they were the best out of any defense outside of the Buffalo Bills this week. So lock it in. Shouts to you. Chef's kiss to Todd Bowles and his defensive staff.
So they played some great football this weekend. I'm coming back to the football world for my best of the week. I'm going to go with the Alabama Crimson Tide. They won the national championship just 1 week ago from us recording this episode, so it is still relevant. We haven't gotten to give it any shine in the HTF world. They absolutely dominated every single team they played this season. Nick Saban, greatest to ever do it. Probably the most impressive Alabama team I've watched. This was the first undefeated one to win the championship since 2009 when it was Greg McElroy, Mark Ingram coming out of that tunnel. So, absolute best team of the year to me was this Alabama Crimson Tide. I can't wait to see some of these guys playing at the next level.
It's a nightmare that you mentioned that, though, John, because we made a side bet, and I'm still reaping the repercussions off of betting against Alabama. But
never bet against the Tide, Okelo. Never bet against the Tide.
Hey, look, look, they recruit players out the womb. I think that's just a secret that Nick Saban gets every year. It is like, is that one good to play football? Yeah, I'm gonna take him.
Exactly, man. There's a lot of teams that are good in here, but once they get up here and they have to play against Alabama, they don't belong because Alabama's just lapped every team in college football. That's how good they are. That's how good Nick Saban is. That's how good the program is.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Tide run it back again. I'm waiting for the day when Nick Saban says, I'm not coaching anymore, because it just holds college football down. You feel like in Ohio State do it. Can the Big Ten do it? Can the Big 12 do it? Every year, time and time again, and Nick Saban's team has stepped up to the challenge. And despite the hurdles over the last 3 years, you had LSU even did it the year prior. I mean, give credit, Devontae Smith, probably the best college football wide receiver of all time. Like I said, I hope he does great things in the NFL. If he does it well in South Beach for the Dolphins, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And fellas, I want to thank you two for joining me today on the first episode of Just Winning of season 2. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Stay tuned for another episode. This time next week, we'll be back in the studio. Can't be more fired up.
Awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.